Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. We just got a brand new 4.1.1 PTU patch, and this one has some very interesting changes in it. If you are a fan of the RSI Polaris, buckle up, because it looks like it might have gotten a little bit of a nerf. So we're gonna go. We're gonna definitely check that out in this video. But there's a couple of things with ships, couple of things with some Outposts and Pyro, as well as some interesting bug fixes that I want to try out. Potentially some fixes for Wikelo. Maybe I'll finally be able to complete a trade with him and see what some of the new items are. So if you want to see some of the latest happenings in the 4.1.1 PTU, then sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So, first we are going to check out under the locations section of the patch notes. There are some changes to some Pyro outposts to sell full Cambrio Light salvage canisters. So we're going to head over really quick to Pyro, maybe go around to a couple different outposts and see if we can find really quick some of those that you can purchase. This will probably be around places that you would do the handyman missions, so I'll probably go. Yesterday when I went, I did one on Monox, I believe. So we'll probably go there, check that out really quick, and then get into some of the juicier stuff with this patch. Alright, so we're coming down to Jackson's Swap. This is where I had done one of the maintenance missions in yesterday's video, in one of these little side outposts around it. So we're going to just go around here really quick. We'll check out the main area, and then maybe a couple of the smaller outposts around it, see if we can find little commodity shops that may be selling these full canisters with the RMC. Okay, here is shop terminal at Jackson Swap. Let's go ahead and see. Personal weapons. I'm assuming it'd be under that. Maybe it'd be under something else. Miscellaneous. Nope, you can buy fuses here. There we go. So, there are two listings for the same Cambio Light SRT container. They're both the same price. So I'm assuming one of these is going to be full and one is empty, although I'm not seeing any indicator as to which is which. There's no difference in the price or anything. But yeah, so it looks like one of these little things, though, you could buy that and be able to go about and do your handyman jobs that way. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more of a designation with that, so you can tell which one you're buying. Because right now, yeah, I could buy either, and it could be, you know, the empty one or the full one. So interesting. We'll have to check that again possibly in another video. So there you go. Looks like they are available at some of the Pyro outposts, so if you're looking for those, you'll be able to find them there. So next, let's head back over to Stanton, and we have a couple of interesting things to check out in regards to ships. So next thing we're going to check out is under gameplay. We have replaced the Idris with the Polaris for high-level ambush missions. So I think the Idris that was there was probably just a placeholder. It seems like now we are going to have the Polaris that we're going to fight. So we're just going to run over really quick in the Hammerhead. Just go scout it out. And I'm not going to try and fight it or anything at the moment, but we're just going to see the Polaris over there. Maybe it has a skin or something. Maybe it's just the default. But let's go ahead and check that out real quick. So as we can see here under the red level contract, surprise attack for 200k. This is now the RSI Polaris instead of the Idris M. So let's go see. Maybe it's a little bit different, but we'll see. Maybe we'll die in the Hammerhead immediately. You know, I'm just thinking, if they're making all these adjustments to the Polaris, they could really make some adjustments to the Hammerhead. That would help make it a lot more viable, you know, give it a pretty decent HP boost. Maybe give it another size 3 shield. I think that would help it quite a lot and make it a little bit more viable to use, but, you know, I'm sure we'll get stuff like that at some point. Oh, this is new. They've added a little, I don't know, particle effects around the area where you stay in to mask your ship signature. That's really cool looking. So I guess sometimes the marker won't show up for you, so I guess if you could find that little cloud, then you'd know where to go, but it's cool. Really interesting. Anyways, let's go ahead and wait a second for the Polaris to show up, and then we'll go take a look at it. Alright, there we go. AI Polaris. Let's go ahead and take a look. For some reason, the MFD casts and things are being a little bit weird. Like my self status for the hammerhead just went sliding off the screen for some reason. So, a little bit odd. We'll just look real quick. Looks like it is the default paint for the Polaris. But it sounds like they're fully crewed and they are packing a punch. So, I would think this won't be nearly as difficult of a target to take down as like the Idris. I do wonder if it'll like glitch out and stop moving like the Idris was doing. Maybe it is. Not quite. But yeah, so won't be nearly as difficult of a challenge, I'd say. But still, definitely something you probably want to be doing with a group once the patch goes live. So yeah, let's go ahead and now we're going to go check out the big juicy thing of this this patch in the patch notes, which is going to be a potential nerf to the RSI Polaris' maneuverability. Oh boy, so here we go. So under ships and vehicles, we have adjusted the flight tuning of the RSI Polaris to give it a greater sense of size and mass, aligning it more closely with its intended role. And they also disabled proximity assist by default. So, I have the Polaris pulled up here. We're going to go fly it around in a moment to get a feel for it. Although I do also have some of the numbers from SP Viewer for the maneuverability changes. There have been several for the Polaris and the Idris, so let's go take a look at those. Okay, so for the Idris M, and yes, there is a designation for the Idris M because there's also a section for the Idris P. Idris M, the vital parts, the body health has been reduced from 6.1 million to 3.6 million for a 41% decrease in its body health. So the Idris is not going to be nearly as tanky as it was. Still going to be quite a bit quite tanky, but not nearly as much. Then the flight characteristics. So I remember a couple weeks ago they actually buffed the Idris's flight characteristics, but now the exact opposite is happening. So for pitch, we have the pitch going from 17 all the way down to 7 for a 59% decrease. The yaw going from 17 also to 7 for a 59% decrease. And the roll going from 27 to 12 for a 56% decrease. So that is a very significant decrease in the maneuverability. I remember testing the Idris a couple of times. It was quite a bit easier to aim the railgun with the better maneuverability, but I think that is not going to be the case any longer with this. They've also, again, adjusted the thrust capacity. It's been nerfed by 22% for the main thrusters, increased by 3% for the retro thrusters, and maneuvering thrusters have been decreased by 15%. Its boost backward speed has also been reduced from 175 to 125 for a 29% decrease. So, some very interesting changes for the Idris M. Let's take a look really quick at the Idris P as well. Alright, so for the Idris P, pretty much everything that has changed is identical to what happened with the Idris M. The only slight difference I'm noticing is it has had its acceleration values changed slightly. So the main acceleration has been lowered by 23% from 2.62 to 2.03, and the retro has been raised by 3% from 1.47 to 1.52. So some very slight acceleration adjustments there, but it also has the health decrease, the maneuverability nerf, and all of those other things. So next, let's look at the RSI Polaris, the one I'm sure all of you are waiting for. So, for the Polaris, there are no adjustments to its health, so it still has the same health. It's quite tanky, but it has had its flight characteristics nerfed. So, the pitch has gone from 15 to 10. So that's a 33% decrease. The yaw has gone from 15 to 8 for a 47% decrease. And the roll has gone from 25 to 17 for a 32% decrease. So it is still more maneuverable than the Idris, but it is, I think, definitely going to be noticeable how much less maneuverable it'll be. The thrust capacity has also had some slight adjustments, it looks like. For the main thrusters, they've been lowered by 8%. retro has been increased by 0.75%. The VTOL has actually had its capacity increased by 102%. That'll probably matter more once more features are implemented that require VTOL. Maneuvering thrusters have been adjusted by 1% as well. The acceleration also has been changed, so this will not be as quick to get up to speed or slow down. Main acceleration has been reduced from 3G to 2.7, that's minus 10%. The upward thrust has been reduced from 2.2 to 2 for minus 9%. And the downward thrust has been increased from 1.7 to 2 for plus 18%. So again, I think that's in line with the pitch yaw and roll adjustments as well, just reducing that acceleration a little bit. But yeah, so those are the main adjustments for the Polaris. Let's go ahead and let's hop in the pilot seat and let's test it out for ourselves. All right, let's lift off and fly around a little bit. We may have to go in space to get a little bit of a better feel for it. Oh yeah, this definitely feels slower. Let's try and get up to space really quick, and we can probably test it out a little bit better there. Let's go up to Everest Harbor. Okay, now we're up in space. We can test this a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, I know on the video you won't be able to entirely, because you're not, flying it. You can't really get a full sense of the feeling of how it feels to fly. But I will just tell you, it feels significantly slower. Yeah, this is, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this yet. I don't, I'd love it to still be how it is. I understand that it needs, because it's a big ship, it probably needs slowed down a little bit. Half of me wonders if maybe this is a little bit much, because it is really close now in its maneuverability to the Idris. But it is quite a bit smaller than the Idris. The Polaris is maybe, I don't know, 60% of the length of the Idris. The Idris is a lot wider, too. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I can just tell you off the bat, it is definitely measurably slower. So that's going to probably change how some of the tactics that people use when using the Polaris in combat, especially with the Hathor events and, future events as well. This is probably going to change that a little bit. So I'll just say, I understand that it needs to be made. Part of me thinks that might be a little bit too much, and maybe they could bring it up just a little bit. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be feedback and further adjustments in the future. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about these specific changes with the ships? Do you think adjusting the maneuverability this much is needed, or do you think it should be a little bit different? Should it be even worse? Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments on this. So next, I wanted to check out a couple of potential bug fixes and see if they are working. So there's two, I believe, that we're going to go check out. So one is going to be, apparently we should be able to harvest the fangs from the juvenile Valakkar corpses. Apparently that has been fixed. So we're going to go check that out and see if we can do that. And then after that, we are going to see there's a fix that should make it so you should receive a Wikelo favor when you turn in the requirements for that. We're going to go test that as well, see if maybe we can get one of the Wikelo trades to work. So let's go ahead and let's head over to a Hathor site and see if we can loot those Valakkar Fangs. So I just found a Quartz Energy SMG battery. Very interesting. Alright, I put the card in. Let's see if some of the Valakkars will spawn. They haven't spawned for me the last couple of patches when I've come here. Maybe it was just because they were fixing the Fangs not being lootable. So let's see. A lot of the time they haven't even spawned for me. And that might still be the case. I'm not getting any right now. And usually they would already be up. So it looks like at least at the Hathor facilities, the Valakkar are still bugged. Potentially maybe you could find them, like, I know they spawn pretty typically at Daymar, just kind of all over the moon. So potentially you could find them there. So we might have to go there. Maybe in another video we'll go check that out. Let's try and go do a trade with Wikelo. Alright, we're here at Wikelo's now. I have brought the items that we would need to make one of the new Navy armor trades. That does involve turning in a Wikelo favor, so we can test if that indeed is working. And then I also have the stuff we would need to try out the useful ship components trade. So let's go ahead and try and get our Wikelo favor first, and then try out the other things as well. I'm also noticing these, so these holographic things were not working properly in the last patch. Now they've been updated, so we have part surprise, big part surprise, and super part surprise. This is just the components. So we're going to try and do this, the first one here, and see what we get from it. Alright, we got our mercenary scripts. They're showing as filled for that contract, so let's send it down and see if we get it. This is the third time I tried it, so maybe third time's the charm. Usually doesn't show it first on the inventory here, so we'll wait a second. You earned a Wikelo favor. Okay, so that little pop-up showed up, so that, as far as I know, that should give it to us. Click retrieve. Oh, maybe the retrieve brings it up on the elevator? Or maybe it got sent to my home. Oh, no, here it is. I thought it might have got sent to Lorville. So, it is there. When you click retrieve, it just pulls it up on the elevator for you. So now we have that. So now, let's send that back down. And then let's try turning that in along with the other items we need for the contract for one of the new armor pieces. We have make Navy, Space Navy armor. So again, I'm pretty sure this will just give us one piece. And it's random. So we need one of the favors, one Ace Interceptor helmet. That's the other thing that hasn't worked for me yet when I've turned it in. So next we'll see if that works. And then one of the UNE Unification War Medals damaged. Again, those are pretty commonly found in a lot of the loot boxes at the Hathor facilities. So we'll send that back down. Well, this might submit it. So I guess let's submit the Wikelo favor here. And we'll see real quick if that checks it off on the objective there. Yep, looks like it did. Okay, so far so good. But now we get to the part of the helmets, which again, the last couple times I've tried, the helmets have not worked for me, so I guess we'll find out if they're working now. We just need one of them for this, so let's bring it up. Right, okay. So it's registering as 1 of 1 for this, so let's send it down, and then we'll see if it gets marked off. Okay, it did it. Cool, it's working now. That is huge, because that makes it so I'll be able to actually try some of the other new trades, and it should work. So now, last of all, let's submit our UNE Unification War Medal, and then we should get the new armor piece. We can check that out for a second. Alright, send it down. And that marked as complete as well. Cool. So at least right now, it looks like the trades for Wikelo should be working now, which is a very good sign, because now we can see what they are. You have been awarded DCP Armor Legs Cobalt Camo. Okay, we'll pull it up and then we'll try it on real quick and see how it looks. Okay, so it's showing as one of the, whatever they call it, the red ball, that it's like the texture isn't correct. But I'm going to try and bring it up. We'll see if we can equip it. And maybe once it's equipped, it'll show the actual armor itself. So let's see what happens. We do have an armor box, so let's go ahead, switch those, and let's equip it. Okay. So here we have the new the legs that are part of this new armor set. So they have kind of a blue, some grays, maybe a little bit of tannish, like digicamo pattern to them. They look really cool. So I'm assuming that's how it'll look also for the chest piece, the helmet, and the arms. So that'll be a really nice style armor you can get. You know, you could get that for you and your group members. That could be your signature armor. I think there's a couple of other versions as well. There's like a sand theme and a kind of a forest camo one. That require a couple of different things. But there is a first look at least one of the pieces for the new armor set. Now I want to try the ship component trade. Seeing as the helmets are working, we should be able to do that. So let's set that up. All right, and just to review really quick for this contract, so this is the lowest of the 3 ship component or ship weapon, whatever they end up being, trades. So this is 3 Ace Interceptor helmets and 1 Panther repeater. So we will get some surprises of components or something. So let's go ahead and turn stuff in and see what we get. All right, so we are showing as the little objectives are filled. So let's send it down and see if it works. Okay, looks like they both marked off, so it should work. So it should give us, whatever the reward is. Let's see if it tells us here in a moment. You have earned FR66. So that is a military grade A, size 1 shield generator, I believe. I guess we can see, maybe it's just that. We'll retrieve it. It should pull it up for us. Let's see. Where is it? Is it on the freight elevator somewhere? I don't see it on the elevator. Let's check the inventory. Maybe it just didn't come up properly. There we go. Cool. So it is in the inventory. So maybe it is... So maybe what it is, and I'll have to do some more testing on this, potentially the lower requirement one gives you really good size 1 ship components. And then maybe for this one you'd get size 2s. And for the high-end one you would get size 3 ship components, which... If that's the case, and you can get like the grade A quantum drives, like the XL1, the TS2, and all those other things, that'll be really, really helpful for getting them a little bit more reliably than trying to do the executive hangars, and half the time the components don't even spawn. So I think that'll help quite a lot. So we'll have to do more testing on it. It's going to take a little while to get more interceptor helmets and all that. So very interesting to see the results of that test with Wikelo. So let me know in the comments, do you think this is a good idea? Are you looking forward to hopefully having a little bit of an easier way to get some nice ship components? I'm assuming this probably won't be... Because you get these from the new missions, there's not going to be a lot of PvP involved in that, I don't think. So I think solo players or small groups, they just want to do PvE, will have a good time with it. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments on that. And I think that is going to do it for today's video. So we checked out some of the new patch news, some bug fixes, and other things like that. Again, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments. It seems like we finally are getting some bigger, meatier patches with some new stuff to check out. There's still quite a bit, though, that has not been added. So buckle up. There's going to be probably some more big patches coming in the next couple of weeks here. They did mention on SCL this morning that they're going to have an ISC in a couple of weeks, I think 2 weeks, for 4.1.1, which to me confirms that this is the Invictus patch. And it's still going to be in the PTU for a little while, so expect more things to be added throughout those couple of weeks to test and get ready for when it comes out, probably a couple of days before Invictus. But yeah, that is going to do it. Feel free to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and found it helpful, as it really helps the channel. And until next time, I will see you in the verse.